Hi, my name is Lori. Thank you for stopping by my channel, quiltingwithlori.com. Today I'm going to be sharing with you step 3 of my mystery quilt, Raining Hearts. There are a number of links below. Make sure that you download the PDFs of the instructions and the templates before we get started. And behind me you'll see a very scrappy version of the Raining Hearts mystery quilt. So let's get started. Alright, you'll want to download the PDFs that are attached in the link below. There is a PDF of instructions. There's also a PDF which includes your templates, and you're going to need to download both of those and print those. For the wall quilt or the lap quilt, first of all, you're going to want to piece the center blocks together, just as the PDF instructs you. For the wall quilt, you're going to have a nine blocks involved, and for the lap size quilt you're going to have 25 blocks involved. And it tells you exactly how to piece those together. Once that's done, then you're going to take your plastic template and you're going to create these templates. You'll trace them from the paper onto this plastic, and that's what you're going to be using to cut them out of your fabric. So for the big units here, the background units, you're going to use a 6.5 inch by 3.5 inch dark, as well as some lights. These are 3.5 inch squares. And you'll simply trace your A template onto the dark background. Use a pencil or a pen to trace it on there. These two pieces are going to be extra. You won't be using those in this quilt, but certainly can use those in my circle challenge. If you go out to my blog on quiltingwithlori.com, you'll find my circle challenge in my mystery quilt tab. So find that and you can use those in that. So once you have cut all of these, then you're going to take your 3.5 inch light blocks and you will trim out the B template. And you'll also have to take 3.5 inch dark fabrics and cut out your corner template. And you're going to need four more of the circular ones. You're going to need 4 of these for your 4 corners for either the lap quilt or the wall quilt. They will end up looking like this. And this is the same technique that you used in the Solomon's puzzle block in step number 2. But this particular unit is a little unusual in that you're going to be attaching 2 circular pieces to this. And again, I've already done this side, but you're going to fold each piece in half and get a crease in both the light and the dark. And you're going to place those creases right side together and put a stability pin right there so that it stays. I always keep that pin out from the seam allowance. Then I bring this around to the side so this is lined up on that straight edge, just like that. This one is going to be brought over here, lined up on this straight edge here, and then you can add a pin or 2 on each of these. It'll just help to keep your seams together. And then you're going to take this to the sewing machine and you're going to start sewing here a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way from one end to the next. If you have a knee lift on your sewing machine, this is a good time to use that knee lift, because you're going to want to raise and lower the presser foot as you go around that seam to eliminate any creases that you might be sewing in there. And as you hit the pin, you remove it before you, as you approach the pin, you remove it before you hit the pin. And then once this is all finished, you'll end up like this. They have to be squared up to 6.5 by 3.5 inches. Your corner units have to be squared up to 3.5 inches. And your PDF of instruction tells you exactly how many units that you're going to need to complete whichever size quilt you're making, whether it's the wall or the lap size. And once you've done that, then you're going to put your rows together of those long units. If you're making a wall quilt, you're going to sew 6 of those units together end to end, and if you're doing a lap size quilt, you're going to sew 10 of those units together end to end. And you'll take 2 of those rows and put them on opposite sides of the quilt, and then you'll finish up by taking the remaining 2 sides and adding the corners to them, and then they will go onto the remaining 2 sides of your quilt center to finish out the quilt. You'll also want to cut some dark outside borders, and these are just narrow borders that really complement that outside edge. And they're just 2-inch wide borders that will help finish out the outside edge of your quilt. So follow the instructions on your PDF. It gives you all of the instructions and the dimensions. And I look forward to seeing many of your quilts. Please email me with questions or email me photos of your quilts. Happy quilting.